Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, you're welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, you are welcome as well. In today's video, we are going to learn how to make a Milkmade top with a lacing at the back. So if this is something that really interests you, please consider to watch this video to the very end. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done that. Please like this video and share this video with others who might be interested in watching this video. Right here is my pattern paper, and that is my starting point. So here is my shoulder line, and here is my chest line, and here is my bust line of 9.5, my under bust of 12.5, my waist of 16 inches, and my length of 21 inches. My actual length is 20 inches, so I added extra 1 inch to make it 21 inch. So I'm going to be marking half of my nipple to nipple measurement of 3.5. And after that, I'm going to connect it together. So on my under bust line, I'll be taking half an inch on both sides on my under bust. And at the hem line, before connecting together, I'm just going to be taking like about 1/4 of an inch. Okay. So you're going to connect everything together. So on my bust line, I'll come down by 1 inch, then connect my dart together. So the next thing is to mark my off shoulder, and I'll be using 6 inches as how off I want the top to be. Okay, so I'm going to rule the mark. Afterward, I'm going to measure how wide I want the neckline to be. So what I'm going to do is just to go inward by about 1.25. Okay, that's how wide I want the neckline to be, and then I'm going to reconnect my armhole so you can see what I have. So the next thing is to take the 1/4 of my bust measurement. So once I know the 1/4 of my bust measurement, I'm going to divide what I have from that's my armhole line to where I have the 1/4 of my bust, then divide it into 2. So that mark I have after dividing into 2, you connect it to your under bust area like so. Okay, so I'm going to be shading this part because we are going to be cutting it off. Now what you can do is, before you cut off the dart and everything, you can just use it to cut out the back first. So right here, I'm taking the 1/4 of my bust plus 1 inch side seam allowance. You do the same thing on your under bust, but the dart you're taking away from your under bust, make sure you add it back to your side seam. Okay, so you repeat the same thing at the hem line. I did not really take my waist measurement. It's not necessary. Once you know your under bust measurements, the waist measurement is not really necessary. So go ahead and curve your hem line. After curving, cut out everything you're supposed to cut. So like I said, before you cut this out, you can use it to cut out your back first before cutting this out. Now you can close the dart before using this pattern to cut your fabric. Okay, but I'm not going to close the dart. I'll just use it like that. So here is my back. I'll also take in 6 inches away, just like I did at the front, which is how off I want this to be. So once that is done, the next thing is to measure our dart. We are also using 3.5 inches for our dart, and remember the back is going to have zipper, but if you don't want zipper, I'm still going to show you what to do. So take in 1/2 inch on both sides of your dart and also connect everything together. Now around the neck area, I'm also going to be connecting the dart to the neck area, but I'm going to be using 1/4 of an inch at the neck area to connect the dart together. Okay, so that it's I can remove any gaping around the back neck. I hope you understand. So I want my back neck to be 8 inches deep, but you can do more than this. Okay, then I'll reconnect it from that 6 inches neckline I marked before, then you connect it back to that 8 inches. Okay, so what I took off at the front, you also repeat the same thing at the back, which is 1.25, and then you reconnect your armhole, and this is what is going to look like. Now at the under bust around the zipper area, go in by 1/2 inch, and then at the waist area, go in by 1/2 inch to remove the zipper bulge in case you want to use zipper for your own. Okay, but if you are not using zipper, there is no need for doing that. So I'm going to be taking my 1/4 of my bust measurement plus the side seam allowance and the dart I'm taking away from there. You're going to be adding it. You're going to repeat the same thing at the under bust, okay, and then you repeat the same thing at the hem line. I hope you understand. Now that half an inch I took off around the under bust at the zipper area, you need to replace it back and then you reconnect or you mark. That is if you're going to be using zipper. Now you also curve the M line just like I did at the front, and then you cut off all the darts. So this is what your back is going to look like. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do now is to cut this on our fabric. Now if you are going to be joining this together, you need to add half an inch to the top and also to where we cut off the darts. So right here I'm going to be cutting these pieces at the front because this is what will make our top Milkmade top. So you are going to be slashing it, but I'll be creating the slash line first. So after creating the slash line, you're going to be numbering all of this together. So afterward, I'm going to be cutting this and then place it on the fabric so that I'll be able to know how much I want the gathers to be. Okay, so spread it along like this. So I'm going to be marking a starting point line and then mark 1 inch for the casing for my rope. Now remember to cut off your armhole area. While I was cutting this, I did not cut my armhole. So when you are doing yours, please cut it off. So I'm going to be cutting this separate. By the time I'm stitching this, I will explain how you are going to stitch. Okay, now cut the other front piece, cut it out and add your joining allowance. Like I said, if you don't want to add join allowance to it, you can just close up your darts before cutting it on the fabric so that it's not going to have any dart joining at the middle. Okay, so add your half an inch allowance to that curved part. Now for my back, because I want lacing, so this part I'm going to be taking it off, and what I'm taking off is approximately around 3.5 inches. Okay, so which means this only part is going to be my back, and that part that I removed, I'll be replacing it with lacing and a modest panel, which I'm going to be showing you in the sewing video. So right here is the sleeve. I've folded the sleeve into 2 and then I folded it again into 4 because I'll be cutting the 2 sleeves at the same time. So I'm taking off 1 inch for the elastic casing, and then I came down by 3.5 inch to create the armhole curve that I'm going to be stitching to my top. Okay, so I marked how the gathered I want, which is 8 inches. Then I marked the 6 inches I took off as the off shoulder. I mark it off and then you connect it to that armhole that you created. Now my sleeve length is about 23 inches. So what you can just do is you can just bring the curved part of your armhole and place it around the armhole on the sleeve so that you can get your accurate armhole measurement. Okay, so this is what I have after doing my measurement. So what I'm going to do now is to cut everything off. So like I said, the sleeve length I'm working with is actually 25 inches because I'm still going to be doing some alteration on the sleeve, which I'm going to show us in the sewing video. Okay, I'm going to show you why I marked up to 25 inches as my sleeve length. So once you are done, go ahead and cut everything off. Okay, so I'm going to be separating the sleeve because I'm cutting 2 sleeves together. All right guys, so this is the end of this tutorial and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.